So the last couple of weeks, we've done a ton of work, a mega ton of work on the Terra Tractor. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
So much so, I don't even know what day it is. I don't
yeah.
even know what hour it
A
is.
lot of long
Um,
nights, a lot of getting it ready, a lot of getting it, done, make sure it's ready to go
yeah.
to the arcade.
I think the final, dots on the i's, crossing the t's, making sure all of our gear is there, making sure that we've got all of our checklists done and rechecked and double checked, navigational stuff for me. There's just been so much, but we wanted to kind of share with you the final Alcan prep video for the Terra Tractor Pajero behind us here, and then also with us and some of the different companies that we decided to use to be able to help us be Alcan ready. And we wanted to make sure to share that with you guys, and yeah, and here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
One thing that we really needed to get right before we take this vehicle up to the Arctic is the fluids. We started with, for instance, the engine oil. Usually this runs a 15W40 motor oil, but we wanted something a little bit thinner than that so it protects in colder temperatures. So we went from a 15W40 down to, as you can see, a 5W40. I've actually never used this engine oil before, but I thought we'd give it a shot. It's full synthetic. It's going to be a little thinner at startup. It's going to help lubricate those really crucial parts of the engine, even when the temperature is well below zero. So in addition to that, we also wanted to test our engine coolant. So we went ahead and pulled the radiator cap off when it was cold, and I bought a coolant tester. It was like $7. You suck a little bit of the antifreeze up into this chamber, and it gives you, using a pointer, it points at what degrees the engine coolant is good to. Ours is good to about 29 degrees, 27 degrees below zero. So we may encounter temperatures colder than that, but for the vast majority of our trip, it's going to be perfect, and at least we know where we stand. So starting this thing is obviously going to be super important, right? You can't go anywhere if you can't get started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, so our Pajero has a stock factory dual battery setup, but we wanted to cram as many cold cranking amps into those two batteries as we humanly possibly could. So we ended up turning to Optima. Optima has their red top batteries. We were able to get two of their 34 series red tops. Each one of those batteries has 800 cold cranking amps, which should be enough to get those glow plugs in the diesel screaming hot, and have enough power to also power things like our auxiliary lights and winch should we need them. We were going to go with a yellow top, which is kind of what you would get if you had a bunch of accessories. But the red tops had more cold cranking amps, and frankly, it's more important for us on this trip to have starting power than it is auxiliary power. One of the most critical aspects of the entire vehicle is going to be the tires. The Alcan 5000 requires that you run either a winter tire or a 3-peak rated all-terrain or truck tire, light truck tire. And so we went with Nitto's Exo Grapplers, which are a 235/80 R17 size. And of course, they are those 3-peak tires that are better in cold conditions. We had them studded, so it's truly going to be a great tire in cold, snow, and ice. It's what we call generally sort of a tall, skinny tire. A skinnier tire is going to be better in snow. It's going to cut through that snow. We may air down a little bit, but it's going to be a really, really good setup. There's one thing that we are accustomed to. It's going prepared for pretty much any situation, and that includes getting stuck. So whether we'll actually need to worry about that or not, I don't know, but we're going to go like we have to get ourselves unstuck. So that means having the right equipment. That includes having an ARB bumper on the front of the Pajero. We have a Warn M8S winch equipped with a Warn Epic hook, which is a forged unit, may or may not have a bottle opener on it. In addition, we'll have a Pull Pal land anchor just in case there's nothing else to winch to.
Storage is really important. Doesn't matter if it's on top of your roof or if it's inside your vehicle. Having something that's dust-proof, waterproof, water-resistant, and rugged for off-road adventures is really important. So we decided to get two Rome Adventure Company 82-liter totes. I want to give you a quick little walk around so you can see what these bad boys are all about. First off, they have two different clips here. These heavy-duty clips are for locking, and you can see they're really, really tightly ratcheted here. Here's the other one. An interior strut for you to be able to open this and keep it open for you to be able to pull out your mallet, your hammer, or any of the other goodies that are inside here. One thing that's really cool about these totes is they have a waterproof gasket, or they have a heavy-duty rubber gasket here. This gasket allows this to be strapped up on top of your roof rack if you wanted to, or in the rain, in sand, behind your vehicle, if you have an open trailer, things like that. So again, dust-proof, waterproof, and another thing too, if you have these ratcheted down, you can have the ratchet holes here, little slots here and here, for you to be able to ratchet this down securely and still be able to use the lid, which is pretty cool. Another thing too, they have flexible grips here, handles. These are heavy duty nylon, really grippy tops. If you don't care for these, you can go ahead and you still have an allowance underneath here to be able to hold and be able to carry this fairly easily. I think on the other side too, the big bonus, although we might not use it on the Alcan, is a bottle opener. It's pretty cool. Once you have this secured, that, folks, is not going to rattle. You can go ahead and stack them on top of each other. When they're stacked, they have the same design, bottom to top, so they nest easily, so they're nice and secured if you need to go 2, 3, 4, whatever high. Again, this is the 82-liter. We have two of them that we're taking for our Allcan. This is going to be our parts box. So we're going to have, as you saw, some of the tools in here. But we have like a spare alternator, spare fuel filter, fuses, all sorts of yada yada, all those kinds of things. The other one's going to be more for our emergency stuff. So roadside flares, our safe jack, our big tool roll, all sorts of those types of things. That's going to be more of our emergency one that you got to get to in a really quick fashion. We're excited to use these. It'll be our first outing, and it certainly won't be the last. In addition to having our roam boxes and our backpacks inside the vehicle, we wanted to make sure to have some critical recovery items on top of the vehicle. So we partnered up with Rhino Rack and got the SX Pioneer platform rack that they have. This is a 60 by 49 inch rack. This sits on top of our factory side rails. Kisses really, really low to the roof, which is really nice. Hardly has any wind noise, and is very robust construction. This Pioneer SX rack also has a multitude of different accessories that you can put on it. Anything from awnings to shovels to high lift jacks to even max tracks here. We decided to go with just kind of a lightweight setup right now. So we have 4 max tracks here. These are made in Australia. These are the best of the best as far as recovery traction devices that are in the market that we feel. And they've gotten us unstuck in a multitude of different terrain, whether it's snow or just real loose dirt, even sand during the Rebel Rally. So we've been really happy with MaxTrack's performance. In addition to the 4 MaxTracks that we have here, we also partnered up with Demos, and we've got their Delta shovel. The shovel is very unique. It's a foldable collapsing shovel that has a couple of different heights as far as your handle that's concerned. And this shovel can be just a normal dirt and snow shovel, or it can actually fold 90 degrees to be a hoe. So, not like we're going to be doing any digging in the earth, planting flowers in the Arctic. It's okay, because right now this is going to be a pretty good snow shovel for us. So Demos, MaxTracks, Rhino Rack, and we're super stoked. We even have a lot of room over here in case we needed to have some more cargo.
In 1991, a Mitsubishi Pajero was sort of state-of-the-art. I mean, it even came with these electronically adjustable shock absorbers, right? But here we are, 2020. Those old shocks pretty worn out, so we needed to replace them. The factory adjustable electronic shocks, super expensive. So we replaced them with a more high performance Rancho RS9000 XL shock absorber. This is a 9-way adjustable shock absorber. We don't get that electronic damping, but that's okay. They are manually adjustable, and they provide a great ride and great performance characteristics. We actually have these on another one of our Pajeros and had them on there a little longer and been really happy with them. So we put them on our Terra Tractor, our 91, and so far they've been great.
We've thought a lot about the Terra Tractor and how we can build the Terra Tractor up so that it can survive the rally. We haven't really thought a lot about how we will survive the rally. But seeing as we need to make sure that we're comfortable, we're safe, and that we're happy within the vehicle, we decided to partner up with Scheelman in regards to heated and orthopedic seats. What's really nice about the Vario F series, which is the model that we specifically installed in our Pajero, is they're 10-way adjustable. They're orthopedic seats, in which that means is they have several different opportunities for adjustment to be able to accommodate people that are tall, short, thin, not so thin, things like that. So they have items like a bottom seat adjustment that you can have the seat go in and out, so you can have people with shorter thighs like myself be comfortable in the seat. They have side bolsters that go in and out and adjust to make sure that you're correctly positioned in the seat back. They have a lumbar situation that is absolutely awesome. So not only does it have a adjustability for it to go up and down to find your lumbar support correctly for your back and how tall you are, it also has a different intensity, so you can go in and out with that too. So not only can you get the side bolsters, the lumbar, the intensity, you can also do the lower seat, and best of all, they're heated. So they're rock star awesome. They have 2 different heat settings. They have a really high setting, which is really, really hot. And then they also have a lower setting too, which gives you just a really nice, mellow, long, warm comfort feeling. Since I don't have a great back, I think it's really going to help with driver fatigue, passenger fatigue, especially if you're going to be in sitting in those seats for 10 to 12 plus hours each day in the Arctic.
Plus, they look amazing. Just saying.
They do look amazing. They're gorgeous.
Oh my God, is this actually overlanding? No, I don't know. But we are going overland.
Over water.
I don't
Ice.
know. Whatever. We're doing the Alcan
Over stuff.
5000. But I'll tell you what, one thing that we're going to need that is going to be an absolute critical component is our long range automotive tank supplied by Long Range America. This is going to basically up our range from about 250 to 300 miles to easily over 400.
400, 500.
500 miles.
500,
Excuse me. 500 miles of diesel range, which will be extremely important for us while we're up in the Arctic. We had the long range tank installed by the fine folks at Wanderlust Overland in Oregon City, Oregon.
Along with our sliders.
Along with our sliders, which we probably won't need, but it's good to know we have them.
All right, so now we've got a Thermo Top Evo from Webasto. How does this guy work, and what does it do?
All right, so this is actually the diesel version. There's a gas version as well. It basically takes the fuel system that's on the vehicle and heats up your coolant system. Actually goes through your heater core and it does a couple of things. It will heat up the block to where your vehicle will start easier. The other thing it does is it pretty much gives you instantaneous hot air. So because your coolant is completely warm up to 160 degrees, if memory serves me right, when you start your truck, turn on your fan, it's automatically kicking out hot air.
And so there's gas and diesel versions?
Yes, there is.
Oh, very cool. What type of vehicles use this typically?
Pretty much anything that you would like. There's a couple of different applications for it. This one obviously is going for a cold weather package, going up into upper Canada and Alaska, will be in the low negatives. So obviously there's a good thought to that, to have keeping your engine warm and obviously having some additional heater ability. Then I mean there's all kinds of things that you can do with it. The other thing that I've seen or heard of people doing is using this for a water intercooler. So they'll have a hot water heater on the rig and then they will run this coolant through the system, and basically gives them 160-degree water.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So how do you hook it up? Does it draw diesel then, or is it battery powered? How is it controlled?
Yes, so a little bit of both. You do have a combustion air fan that is powered off your 12-volt system, as well as the controller. Up in here, you'll see the diesel lines that actually run on this vehicle to an auxiliary tank that's in the back. So it actually pumps diesel from that tank up into the system for the combustion to create the heat to heat the coolant.
And how long are these used for? Can they be serviced? Do they last several years if under extreme conditions?
Yeah, I shouldn't have any problem with that. There's a little bit of service required. Fuel filters, there's you can have some carbon buildup. Not too much with these, with some of the other units. But yeah, as long as you keep on top of them. The nice thing about these is with the display, it actually will give you error codes to kind of point you in the right direction if some sort of issue does happen to arise.
Oh, that's nice. So then they have like a brains unit, so you can program them or things like that?
This one has the smart control. It has 3 different, as well as a custom programmable features, as well as a manual on-off. Alright, so we got the smart trim controller mounted right to the right of the driver's side on this vehicle. Going to be a little hard to see because of the LCD display, but basically you can see the 2 red lights that are on. That has started our Thermotop Evo. It also has some time and date. You also can access your programming menu or manual menu as well through here. And a couple other settings, 24 hour versus 1 hour low voltage disconnect, so you can actually set it when it's going to turn this off because of low voltage. Which is kind of nice if you know exactly if you're below a point that your vehicle is not going to start. You can set it for a little bit above there and still have make sure that you have that reserve power enough to start your vehicle in the morning. It does time out after 30 seconds. You can hit either one of the buttons or twist the dial to reactivate your screen. So if we step outside here, so you can hear it running up here. Should be about as loud as it's going to get. We'll go ahead and as the exhaust start to kick out, go ahead and shut the door. So you can see it's not near as loud as you would think it would be for as quick as it heats as it's up.
That's about as loud as it's going to get, correct?
Yep, that should be as loud as it is.
Nice. So depending on how long you have it running, 60 minutes, 10 minutes, 90 minutes, 10 hours long at night.
Yeah, and it'll actually cycle once it gets up to temperature. It has a range to where it'll kick off and it won't be near this loud. Then once it gets below the temperature, it'll kick back on again, get up to this decibel, and then drop out again once it reaches that upper temperature.
Nice. Very cool system.
We mounted those Nitto Exo Grappler tires on a set of, well, actually, tell you what, let me back up a little bit.
You need to.
So, the Pajero runs typically a 15x6 wheel with like a plus 33 offset. Sorry to nerd jack the whole wheel conversation here, but it's something I'm a little passionate about. But in order to run the 235 80 R17 Exo Grapplers, we needed a wheel that was no wider than 7.5 inches wide.
Which is really hard to find.
No narrower than a 6.5 inch. But so we were going to have to find like a 7 or 7.5 inch wide wheel. Easier said than done because these days nobody's making an aftermarket 17 by 7.5 with a 6 on 5.5 bolt pattern with an offset under 20 millimeters.
We already know we're weird, so.
Yeah, well, so speaking of weird, we had to figure out what we were going to do. Well, it turns out that OEM Toyota wheels for, say, like FJ Cruisers, Tacomas, some of the Land Cruisers, Sequoias, that kind of stuff, they had the right size wheel. So we ended up buying a set of used 17 by 7.5 Toyota FJ Cruiser wheels. right bolt pattern, all that stuff. The only difference is we needed at least 108 millimeter center bore in order for these to fit. So through a friend at work, I was able to get a recommendation of a machine shop that could open those wheels up to a 108 millimeter center bore
versus a 106.
versus 106. It's only 2 millimeters. It doesn't take much, but the shop did a great job, and we were able to mount those Nittos on those 17 by 7.5 inch tire wheels, and they fit perfectly and come out to just about a 32 inch overall tire diameter. So about an inch lower than what we usually run, but that's going to help us with acceleration.
Do we want to talk about lug nuts?
Oh, God.
All right, let's see how it goes. Wow, there she is. Nice and skinny. Nice. I can't see that one very well, but wow, those are really skinny.
235, 8017, tall and skinny. Nitto exo grapplers with studs.
Nice.
Mounted on 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser wheels with the center bores enlarged from 106 millimeters to 108 millimeters. No center caps, no care.
And we're not going to talk about the lug nuts.
No, they fit.
They fit now. Yay.
So we've got the wheels on. These are the FJ Cruiser wheels. Got the right lug nuts. Little tip, if you're looking for lug nuts, call your local discount tire or tire shop, because a lot of times they stock them. And so what I thought was a bit of a crisis ended up being not a crisis, because all the discount tires in the Portland area had multiple sets. So we got the right lug nuts on here. Everything's torqued down. I'm just cleaning some of the dust off of them. Not that they're not gonna get completely dusty here shortly, but they're on, and so I'm looking forward to taking a test drive with them. But just cleaning them up. In 1986, the legendary racer Rod Hall ran the Alcan 5000, which would have been the second running of the event. He did it in a 1986 Dodge Raider. This would have been the Dodge-branded version of the Mitsubishi Montero or Mitsubishi Pajero, a two-door, short-wheelbase sport utility vehicle.
It was a gas variant of it. And since we're running a 1991 Mitsubishi Pajero, even though it's a second gen versus a first gen that Rod had run, the Allcan 5000 rally organizers had approached us and asked us if we'd be honored to run as a tribute vehicle to the legendary late great racer Rod Hall, who had just passed away in 2019. We were very humbled by the request, and we accepted immediately. Although neither of us had met him, his racing career has spanned over half a century. He's run like hundreds of races with about 180 race wins. That included a streak of about 35 back-to-back victories in the 1980s. And I think his race history was about 50% wins, whereas 50% of everybody else even just completes a race. So a super, super huge legend. I've got a couple good friends of mine that have been mentored and taught by him on how to be off-road racers and be very competitive and win. And we're very humbled and very respectful that we were asked to run in his honor as a tribute vehicle with our Pajero.
Yeah, pretty amazing.